Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Lindsey Monroe. Just a little bit after 8 o'clock this morning, we're with you on our social media networks, Facebook Live and other platforms, just to get you updated on everything that's going to be going down today as far as our severe weather risk, what changed overnight while you were sleeping, and kind of what you're going to be walking out the door to this morning, as well as what's coming in later today. So I am keeping up with some of the comments in this section. So if you do have a question, just go ahead and put it in that comment section. I'll see it scrolling through, and hopefully I'll be able to answer as many as possible as we kind of walk you through what's going on the radar and those severe storms as the day progresses. First, we've got a couple of waves. The first one coming in down from the south. You can see we've got this cluster of storms that's lifting in our direction, coming up from the Memphis, Nashville area. That's kind of that rain that's out there right now, the leading edge of that. And it has not been severe during the overnight. The real storm system is this cold front, and that's what's developing still back to our west. It's responsible for lots of severe weather from Iowa to northern Missouri during the overnight. It has since weekend, but I expect it to redevelop as we go through the course of the day, and that's going to be that primary severe threat as we get into the latter part of our day, mainly after about 4 p.m. So as far as what's out there right now, we've got that leading edge lifting in with that line that's still slowly progressing in our direction back west. As far as the Storm Prediction Center goes, not much has changed. Most of the area is still under this level 3, which is the orange highlight, and then down to the south you see southern and southwestern parts of the state under that red. So that was an update yesterday. It was an upgrade for the southwestern part of the state, mainly because as this line progresses, that's where we could potentially see a few more rotating storms. But I want everybody here in central Indiana to essentially treat this as if we're all under the same risk, because it's the same line of storms that's going to impact everybody as the day goes on. As far as what's on the radar this morning, really hasn't been much. We're dry here in the metro now, but a few of those spotty showers now lifting into the eastern side of the state from Connorsville over to Greensburg, and then that light rain really starting to filter in across the southern tier of the state right now. We've just been dealing with the clouds and the gusty winds here in Indianapolis so far, and the very mild temperatures. We've been steady 66, 67 degrees all morning long with that very strong wind coming in out of the south. Now wind gusts are expected to get up to near 30 to 40 miles per hour today, and that's outside of these actual thunderstorms. So here's the timeline as we go through the next several hours. The rain's going to continue to filter in, might even get in on some isolated embedded thunderstorms within that, but low threat of severe weather during the first part of the day today. And then as we get into the latter part of our afternoon, we'll see a little bit of a lull that will allow the temperature to recover back into the upper 60s, low 70s before that main line arrives into the evening tonight. So we've been talking a lot about what we need to do to prepare for this, because it's really been a while since we've had the potential of that widespread severe weather. So a couple of things. First, we talk about the difference in a watch and a warning. Typically, those watches are issued several hours in advance of warnings being issued. They are from the Storm Prediction Center, and they cover portions of states. So these are big widespread watch areas, and they actually last for a few hours. And that's when we need to get that plan in place and just know where to go if a warning does get issued. Now the warnings are issued minutes before the storms move into your area, because it's been radar indicated, or we've got storm spotters in the field who have actually seen either a tornado or the severe weather happening, or we've had a weather instrument record those very strong wind gusts. And that's in effect for portions of counties. So when we talk about the polygons and the small warning zones, that's what that warning is. That means you need to take cover now that severe weather is happening, and they typically last between about 20 minutes and then up to an hour. So finding that safe place. The most safe place that you can go obviously is underground, a storm shelter, a basement. If you don't have that as an option, an interior room in a well-constructed, sturdy structure, make sure you go to a place where there's a lot of walls between you and the outside. That's going to protect you the most from things like breaking glass from windows or any potential objects like tree branches that might get blown through the side of a house or something like that. So an interior room, preferably in a bathtub, a bathroom, interior closet, something like that. And you really do need to be thinking ahead if you're in a mobile home, something that's not secure, something that's not a sturdy structure. Plan ahead now, call some friends, or make plans to go to perhaps a community building that is a safe, sturdy structure. And if you're in a vehicle, Not a good idea to go under an underpass. You get one of those wind tunnel type situations and you just don't want to be there. So the best thing to do if you are driving and you see severe weather or you get an alert on your phone, best thing to do is to get off of the road and find something like a gas station or somewhere that you could go, a public place that could keep you safe there if we do get severe weather when you're out and about. All right, let's talk about the risk for today. We talked about these zones, but I do want to break this down a little further for our primary threats, which include those significant wind gusts that are possible as the leading edge of this line of storms moves in. So this is for that potential of 80+ mile-per-hour wind gusts, includes most of central, western and southern Indiana. And you might hear us talk about a couple of different types of warnings today. A warning is issued whenever there is either a radar indicated or a report of wind speeds gusting in excess of 58 miles per hour. But today we could see considerable wind gusts of 70 miles per hour, potentially up to 80 miles per hour. Hail, we're including this on this graphic because that would also be part of the criteria, but we're not anticipating large hail today. It's mainly going to be that wind threat that we're watching. Could see any of those warnings get issued today, as well as that tornado threat that exists, especially in western and southwestern parts of the state. Now, there are a couple of different types of tornado warnings that could get issued. The first one, and what most of them are radar indicated. We also have the potential of a tornado that, even if it's radar indicated and it's moving into a very populated area, they might call for, they being the National Weather Service, a tornado emergency, just so folks can know that there is indeed a very dangerous storm headed to an area where there's a lot of people. We've also seen the warnings come down for confirmed tornadoes, and that's when we have those spotters in the field. They've got video, they've got pictures, they've sent it to the Weather Service, and it's confirmed that what matches the radar is actually happening. And then we would let you know in verbiage when we're breaking down the warnings that are coming in. So that's everything that we need to know as far as the severe threats and those primary threats for today. And then as we go through the next several hours, and I do want to just check in on our chat. Looks like some people are chiming in. Again, just leave your questions here, and I will hopefully be able to get through them as we are kind of walking through this timeline. So out there right now, I do want to start this next hour noticing again just a few of those stray showers that have been moving into the eastern side of the state. The coverage area is going to start to pick up between now and about lunchtime today. Some heavier downpour is going to be a possibility. This is around noon, but this is the low end severe threat that we were talking about. As we get into the afternoon, things are going to start to become more active. So by about 4 p.m., this is when we're watching sort of the leading edge of this line that's going to start over on the western side of the state. So this pushes in closer to Terre Haute first, and this is where we're going to see the damaging wind gusts and potentially some rotating storms. Now, this most recent weather model has actually got this line moving a little quicker, the speed a little faster. So there is a little uncertainty as far as exactly how fast the leading edge of this storm is going to move, and that's going to have an impact on what time it impacts different parts of the state. So we're still going with that time frame after 4 o'clock to areas west. This progresses this line into the metro close to about 6 p.m. Other weather models closer to about 8 p.m. So good idea just to stay weather aware between about 6 and 8 for the metro, and then over on the eastern side of the state that continues to move off closer to about 8 p.m. But we're not done with this storm system just yet. Check this out. We're still going to have a lot of energy, especially in southern Indiana, closer to about 8 o'clock. So the storms are going to start to pick back up. This will bring heavy rainfall leading to localized flooding, and even the potential still, especially in southern Indiana, that we could still see a few rotating storms along the leading edge of that heavy rainfall in the storm south. After 8 o'clock, this will move east. We're going to pause here again right around midnight. Our severe threat at that point will come to an end. We'll have a few lingering showers beyond midnight, but then that cooler, drier air is going to start to take back over during the overnight hours, and we're going to be in good shape. So again, just to break that down again, 4 to around midnight from west to east. Could get some damaging wind gusts, a few rotating storms. Would not be surprised if we do get put in a watch zone into the afternoon, right around the time the kids are headed home, and then through the rest of your evening. That's when you'll really want to have that source or multiple sources to get those warnings and watches sent directly to you. Behind that system, we are again going to see that cooler, drier air taking over for Thursday. So the return of sunshine, a high near 60, and then planning ahead for your holiday weekend. It does look like we will have much more quiet weather conditions, but certainly going to be a bit cooler there with temperatures back into the 50s. So again, this is going to be that timeline. Stray showers moving in now, picking up in coverage area through about noon. Isolated heavier downpours a possibility. And then again, it's the 4 to 8 p.m. time frame for areas west of Indianapolis, and then after 6 to 8 p.m. here in the metro, and then off to the eastern side of the state. Really watching this time frame here as well, 8 o'clock to midnight, when we'll get that kind of secondary round of some heavier rainfall and those storms embedded within that. So that's the latest as far as our weather information goes, as far as the Storm Prediction Center outlook and the timeline from our latest high resolution weather model here. And just important to know that outside right now, no watches, no warnings are currently in effect. Yeah, so I'm getting some questions saying, just kind of asking about the tornado outlook and how it has kind of changed a little bit from yesterday. And those are issued from the Storm Prediction Center, and they do change and they do evolve based on how the weather system that's already going on out there is evolving. So you might potentially see some updates because of that. But what I showed you is kind of the very latest on what they have released out there this morning. So again, your tornado threat for today, this is going to be where that is going to be highest over on the western and the south western parts of the state. But even then, this is not something that everyone needs to be overly concerned about as far as we go through the day today. It's going to be something that we'll just continue to monitor as that main line moves in. Mainly just kind of focusing on that zone because it's kind of the first part of the state as that line initially moves in. And I do expect it to weaken a bit as it does cross the state and eventually into Ohio, just because we're going to lose that daytime heating. We're going to lose some of that atmospheric energy that would fuel some of these storms. So the later in the day we get, the lesser of the chance that this has to sustain itself as it moves off to the east. All right, that's about all the questions I see on here right now. I will go through and individually kind of type out some responses on the Facebook questions that we're getting on our live. Other than that, it's going to be a team effort for today. We've got folks in the field that are going to be covering this. We've got Sean that's going to be in, Angela that'll be in all night helping to cover these with team coverage. And of course, you can always check our website at WTHR.com. That's where we're going to be constantly updating our weather blog. So any new developments that we see, any new information, changes in these weather models or what the Storm Prediction Center says, we're going to update those. And of course, you can download the Live Doppler 13 weather app. If you do not have a reliable source to get those warnings, you can turn on your location. It's actually wherever you travel, it's going to know where you are. So if you do happen to travel into a zone that is under a watch or a warning, it will send you those alerts there. So it's a really good resource to have, and it's free. So check that out. Otherwise, again, I'm going to post a couple of links on this so you can go back and either rewatch this or head to our website for that latest information. But we'll be here keeping you updated. Hope everyone has a safe Wednesday.